I'm going to kick your butt. Can you threaten to kick me in a funny way at 59? Rick Harrison is facing a nightmare that no father ever wants to face. His son has been sentenced to life in prison. For years, Pawn Stars was a hit because it showed off rare items and big deals, but behind the cameras, things were falling apart. The once proud Harrison family is now caught up in lawsuits, betrayal, and a crisis that no one saw coming. Today we dive deep into the fortune of Rick Harrison. Rick Harrison, the renowned businessman and reality TV star from Pawn Stars, had always been a sharp negotiator. But his final deal was the most surprising of all. When he passed away, his family gathered for the reading of his will, expecting the usual division of assets. What they didn't expect was the heartfelt legacy he had left behind, one that brought tears to their eyes. Harrison had spent decades building his empire, transforming the gold and silver pawn shop into a cultural phenomenon. Yet, despite his success, he never flaunted his wealth. Those close to him knew he was a savvy investor, but even they were unprepared for the scale of his fortune. As his lawyer unfolded the documents, his sons Corey and Adam, along with his wife and close friends, listened in stunned silence. Rick had set aside millions not just for his immediate family, but also for his employees, charities, and causes that had meant the most to him. So what's really going on here? What has the court decided so far? And why, in the first place, would his own mother sue him? The backstory. Rick Harrison is the man who made pawn shops cool and turned reality TV into a gold mine. But he probably didn't think his most dramatic storyline would come from his own family. Yet here we are. His mother, Joanne Harrison, sued him in early 2022, and the case has become messier than anyone expected. So why did she sue her own son? To the outside world, Rick and his family seemed close-knit. After all, the Harrison family's charm and banter were a big part of Pawn Stars' success. But like any family, they had their cracks. For years, viewers loved the dynamic between Rick, his father Richard, the old man Harrison, his son Corey, and their quirky employee Chumlee. It was all great until Richard died in 2018. Known as the Old Man, on the show, Richard was the patriarch of the Harrison family and a co-owner of the gold and silver pawn shop. When he passed away, it was revealed that he had left his 49% share of the business to his wife, Joanne. This made her a co-owner of the shop alongside Rick, who already controlled the remaining 51%. But this is where things got tricky. According to Joanne, her ownership stake in the pawn shop was not always so straightforward. Back in the early 2000s, when she was hospitalized, Rick allegedly approached her with papers to sign. She says she didn't fully understand what she was signing at the time, but those papers effectively transferred her 51% ownership to Rick. From that point on, Rick and Richard ran the shop as co-owners while Joanne was left in the background. At the time, Joanne did not raise any issues. Maybe she trusted her son, or maybe she didn't realize the long-term implications. But after Richard's death, she began to feel sidelined. As the sole heir to Richard's 49% share, Joanne became a co-owner again, at least on paper. She says Rick was supposed to provide her with detailed financial records and include her in business decisions. Instead, she claims he kept her in the dark and failed to live up to his legal obligation as a co-owner. The lawsuit. Then came the lawsuit. Joanne decided to take serious legal action. She accused Rick of mishandling family assets, withholding financial information, and even misappropriating funds. According to court documents, Joanne claims that more than $500,000 in cash and silver, which belonged to Richard, is unaccounted for. She is also questioning how Rick has been managing the shop's profits and whether he has been using the money for personal expenses without her knowledge. Joanne is asking the court for several things. First, she wants a full accounting of the shop's finances. She wants to know where every dollar has gone, especially since she believes Rick has been less than transparent. Second, she is seeking financial damages for the alleged mismanagement. Third, she wants a court order to prevent Rick from making any major financial decisions without her approval. Basically, she is asking for more oversight and control over what she believes is rightfully hers. Rick's response. Rick, for his part, is not taking these accusations lightly. He has publicly denied all of Joanne's claims, calling them false and suggesting that his mother is being manipulated by other people. Who are these other people? Rick has not named names, but it is clear he thinks someone is influencing Joanne to go after him. In his view, This lawsuit is not just about money. It is about outside forces trying to tear the family apart. But this is where things get even more interesting. Joanne's lawsuit does not just focus on the pawn shop. It also names several other entities, including Gold and Silver Pawn Shop LLC, Harrison Properties, and Joy Properties. This suggests that the legal battle is not just about the family business, but also about other assets and investments tied to the Harrison name. The evidence. So what proof has been presented so far? Unfortunately, there is not much evidence to support Joanne's claims. Joanne's case seems to rely heavily on her own testimony and the lack of financial transparency from Rick. She is essentially arguing that Rick's refusal to provide full financial records is proof that something shady is going on. Meanwhile, Rick's defense hinges on the idea that Joanne willingly signed over her shares back in the 2000s, and that her claims are either exaggerated or completely unfounded. The legal process has been slow, and as of now, there is no clear resolution. But the case has already taken a toll on the family. Rick and Joanne's relationship, once built on trust and mutual respect, is now strained to the breaking point. And it is not just about them. The entire Harrison family is feeling the impact. While other family members like Corey and Chumlee have not publicly commented on the case, it is hard to imagine that they are not affected by it. The fallout. The bigger picture. What makes this case so shocking is that it involves a family that built its brand on loyalty and teamwork. Fans of Pawn Stars are used to seeing the Harrisons work together to solve problems, whether it's negotiating a tricky deal or fixing up a vintage item. The idea that Rick and Joanne are now facing off in court feels like a betrayal of everything the show stood for. But if you dig a little deeper, it is not entirely surprising. Money has a way of complicating even the strongest relationships, and the Harrison family is no exception. Over the years, their success has brought them fame, fortune, and plenty of drama. This is not the first time family tensions have spilled into the public eye. Back in 2018, it was revealed that Richard had completely cut another son, Christopher, out of his will. The reasons for this decision were never fully explained, but it was a clear sign that not everything was rosy behind the scenes. What's next? As for Joanne's lawsuit, it is hard to predict how it will play out. If the court sides with her, it could mean major changes for the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop and the Harrison family's finances. But if Rick is cleared of any wrongdoing, it could strengthen his position as the head of the family business. Either way, this case is a reminder that even the most successful families have their share of struggles. What's really at stake here is not just money or ownership, it is trust. Joanne trusted Rick to look out for her interests, and now she feels betrayed. Rick trusted Joanne to support him, and now he feels attacked. It is a heartbreaking situation, and there are no winners in this kind of fight. Whether the court decides in favor of Joanne or Rick, the damage to their relationship may be impossible to repair. How did they get here? But why did they grow so bitter suddenly? What was their relationship like before the lawsuit? How did they reach this point? To understand how Rick Harrison and his mother Joanne ended up in a bitter legal battle, we need to rewind and take a closer look at who they were, how they got into the pawn business, and what brought them to where they are now.